Hey, my name is Xodas, and today I want to talk about the best covenant for Frost DK for all types of content and what covenant you should pick, because this is obviously a very big decision. Even for someone like me who played the beta and pretty much knew what was best for what and what covenant I wanted to run. When the time came for me to make my decision, I really had to still put some thought into it because it's a really tough choice. So today, let's go ahead and go over this stuff. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button. It helps tremendously with the algorithm. And if you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button as well. Let's go ahead and hop into it. So we're going to go ahead and just go through each content type and talk about what's best in each of those content types. So first off, in Mythic Plus, the best covenant is hands down the Venthyr. The Venthyr is so good in Mythic Plus because of their ability Swarming Mist, which works the best when you have as many opponents around you as possible, up to 5. It's not really the best in single target, and the reason why is because the way that Swarming Mist works is it gives you 3 runic power per enemy target around you, up to 5. This means that you can get 15 runic power every single second for 8 seconds. This is huge. This is going to give you a huge boost on your Breath of Sindragosa as a Frost DK. This is absolutely massive. However, like I said, it lacks in single target, because if you only have 1 or 2 targets around you, that's only 3 runic power per second or 6 runic power per second. And that's not really anything to write home about. And so Venthyr is definitely the best of the covenants for Mythic Plus. And it does specifically work with the Breath of Sindragosa spec as well. So if you don't want to run Breath of Sindragosa, this may not be the one for you. Well, what I would say would be the second best pick for your covenant as a Frost DK in Mythic Plus would hands down have to be probably the Kyrian. The Kyrian ability gives you 350 mastery when you take the Soulbind Pelagos, and that 350 mastery is amazing. It goes towards all kinds of good things, like increasing your obliterate damage now that we have Killing Machine rank 2, which increases our obliterate damage based on our mastery as it does frost damage now. This is also huge if you do want to do the Breath of Sindragosa gameplay, but have an option between choosing Breath of Sindragosa or not Breath of Sindragosa, unlike Swarming Mist. So this will increase your frost damage across the board, and that means that no matter how you want to play, no matter what you want to do, whether it be Mythic Plus or any other type of content, the Kyrian have you, and for that reason they are my second top pick for Mythic Plus. Now let's talk about PvP. So PvP, number 1 is without a doubt Maldraxxus. Maldraxxus is definitely going to be the top pick. That is the Necrolord, and the reason why is because you get the ability Abomination's Limb. Abomination Limb is really powerful. It does a decent amount of AoE damage, although it did get nerfed recently by 6%, and so it's not as impressive as it was on the beta. However, it still does do quite a bit of AoE damage, which isn't really a huge deal in Arena, but it's better than nothing. The main reason that we're taking this ability, though, is without a doubt for its gripping ability. It grips targets around you every 4 seconds, and it does this one at a time, so it'll randomly select somebody who is further than about 11 yards from you, and it will go ahead and grip that person right to you. With 4 seconds later, it'll grip another person, and so on and so forth. This is really powerful for having control on the board. You're able to stop people from casting, you're able to stop people from kiting you, and you're able to set up chill streaks with it as well, although a lot of people have wisened up to that strategy already. And so don't be surprised if the moment you pop A-Bomb Limb, the first thing that everybody in the arena or BG does is get away from you as fast as possible to avoid that huge chill streak setup. That is definitely going to happen to you, and that is definitely a downside of the A-Bomb Limb, is that it's predictable, and once people learn how to kind of play around it and negate it, then you're pretty much, you know, the trick is done for, and that's not too great. There's one other thing going for the Necrolords though, and that is for sure their Soulbind Emini. This is definitely the best Soulbind at the moment for Necrolord as Frost DK, and the reason why is because of its ability that Emini has that increases your strength by 5% whenever you activate your Necrolord class ability, and it increases all of your allies' strength by 2% as well. And so ultimately this is a really powerful ability because it increases your strength by 5%. This also means that this ability will grow with you, since it increases your strength by 5% of your current strength value. As you get more strength, this is going to give you more strength. As you get a larger pie, 5% of a larger pie is a larger chunk. And so this is an ability that I think is just going to get stronger and stronger over time. And I think it is definitely very strong, and this is the Covenant that I chose as a PvP main. For my second pick for PvP, it has to be Kyrian, and the reason once again is because they're that generalist. And not only on top of that, but once again, that Pelagos Soulbind to get 350 mastery, and it's only on a 1-minute cooldown. That's absolutely massive. This means that you're going to have higher consistent single target damage in pretty much all types of content versus any of the other more AoE focused covenants. And so this is absolutely huge. Now, you're probably asking, how does 350 mastery size up to Necrolord, and why does Necrolord win over Kyrian? Well, the way that it sizes up is that at this current point in the game, once you're fully PvP geared in the battleground gear, then the 350 mastery bonus from Kyrian and the 5% strength bonus from Necrolord are actually very similar in their performance. Very, very similar. However, like I said, because Necrolord gives you a % increase on your strength, this means that the Necrolord ability is going to get better. It's going to grow with you as you get more gear. The Kyrian ability, on the other hand, will not do that. It is not % based. It gives you a solid 350 mastery, which right now, in this current moment of the game when I'm releasing this, literally a few days after release, 350 mastery is huge. You don't even have 350 mastery at the moment with current itemization. However, as we go down the road, what we will see is that you'll have more mastery coming from your gear, and 350 will become a little bit less of a big deal. Perhaps 6 months down the road from now, you have 600 mastery baseline, and so 350 mastery is only giving you 50% of your current value, and that's not as valuable as it is right now, where it's literally more of an 100% increase. All right, so now let's talk about Raid. So in Raid, the really only pick here, sadly, is Kyrian. Kyrian has been on every single one of these, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit more here in a second. But the reason why Kyrian is so good in Raid is, once again, it's the best single target Covenant ability. It's on the shortest cooldown of abilities that actually buff your stats in some way, only 1 minute. And it also increases that mastery by 350. And once again, that's just so freaking strong, guys. It's so strong. So that's really the best pick. If you wanted a second pick here, I would say it would probably have to be Maldraxxus, maybe Venthyr. I'm not too certain on this because I haven't had a chance to do raid testing yet. I do know that of the people that have done the raid testing, they all said just go Kyrian and don't think about it past that, but I don't really know for a fact what would be the best. I think Venthyr would probably be a solid contender if you're looking at more like raid trash, but that's not really what raid's all about. And since most boss fights are single target boss fights, you're not going to get much value out of that Swarming Mist. Maldraxxus, on the other hand, could be the solid number 2 because it does do some AoE damage, but it does do solid single target damage as well. And it still gives you that 5% strength bonus, and it will buff your allies as well. So perhaps Maldraxxus is going to be the number 2 pick for Raid as a Frost DK. So now you're probably wondering, okay, well, what the heck should I pick? You've named like almost all of the Covenants except for Night Fae, which don't go Night Fae. They got heavily nerfed. If you have not been inside the loop of what's been going on as new changes have rolled out over the months, Night Fae has gotten completely nerfed into the ground for Frost and Unholy DK. And unless there's some super specialized, build that it encompasses like all kinds of different things, every possible thing you can do to create the perfect Night Fae build, unless something like that exists, then in my testing and to my knowledge, Night Fae is a completely dead choice for Unholy and Frost DK. So what you should pick, I think, comes down to a handful of things. First of all, if you want to just do good in everything and have very little worries, then go Kyrian. They're just the best general Covenant. I'm sorry if you don't like the Kyrian like me, but they are just the best performing general Covenant. They don't really suffer anywhere except for maybe in Mythic Plus. However, like I said, you get that 350 mastery, so having Breathless and Dragosa available to you and all that is just absolutely amazing. That's something you can't really do with most of the other Covenants, is that they work very specifically with one type of build. Maldraxxus increases your strength, so that's going to be the best for like a 2-hand obliterate build, whereas Swarming Mist gives you extra runic power, which only works with Breathless and Dragosa. Even Night Fae really only works with a 2-hand obliterate build because it relies on cleaving obliterate, which means you want the biggest obliterate as possible. So ultimately, Kyrian is the best generalist. If you want to just set it and forget it and not worry about it, I highly recommend that you take the Kyrian Covenant. However, if you know what you do, if you know who you are, what you want to do, you want to be a PvPer, you want to be a Horator, you want to be a Mythic Plus runner, these are your goals, like you don't really care so much about the rest, then you want to go for a more specialized Covenant that's going to take you further. And that means going Kyrian for raid, going Venthyr for M+, or going Necrolord or Kyrian, honestly, for PvP. At that point, once you know all this, and once you kind of got an idea of what's most important to you content-wise type and playstyle type, then really, if there's a tie, then you just got to choose which Covenant do you like better, thematically or story-wise, whatever it is to you that makes or breaks a Covenant. At that point, you just got to weigh the pros and the cons and make a decision for yourself as to what you think is best for you. Anyways, I hope this video has helped you kind of understand the climate of and what's going on with these Covenant abilities, and hopefully this will help you make a more informed decision. If you've already chosen a Covenant, then don't worry, because right now is a great time to change your Covenant. No one's really had enough time to really invest into a Covenant yet and get that renown built up. So that means that right now swapping Covenants isn't as hard as it will be, say, a month down the road. So if you want to go ahead and change your Covenant, do it today, not tomorrow. It's going to be a lot better off if you do, because you won't be losing so much stuff that you've already worked hard for. So without any further ado, thank you so much for watching the video. Hit that like button if you want. Hit that like button if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great freaking day.